Hello, Dr. Rosenfeld and Joyce. I put together a short video outlining some of the analysis I did over the weekend that I wanted to share with you, and I'm hoping to show this at our Health User Conference in Redlands on October 17th. I'm going to get you both registered for the conference. If you can make it, fantastic. I completely understand if you can't, but I wanted to extend an invitation and also just showcase some of the analysis I did because to be truthful, it was inspired by you both, specifically about how clinics really do improve the ALS patients, not only quality of life, but for me, hopefully extending my life. So as a part of that, as I attended clinic, I got to thinking how fortunate I am that my commute is only 15 minutes to Loma Linda, but I've met patients within your lobby or during clinic that have to drive 2 or 3 hours to come to Loma Linda. And that got me thinking after talking to you, Dr. Rosenfeld, is where would we put the next clinic to serve those folks that have to have a significant amount of drive to get to clinic? Because I know for myself, after I get done with clinic, I'm completely exhausted. Fortunately, I have my wife that takes me and drives me there. And quite honestly, when I'm driving home, even though it's a 15-minute commute, I'm usually asleep by the time I get home. So I can only imagine what it must be like for these other patients that are having to drive significant time to come to clinic. So what I want to do is just walk you through the data that I have and show you how spatial analysis can help us answer that question of where would we put the next clinic to serve the greatest need. So what we're looking at here is the state of California, and I've just summarized the number of ALS incidents in the state of California. Now this isn't holistic, this is just a snapshot of data, so this isn't supposed to be the true picture, it just gives you an idea of what we can do with spatial analysis to answer that question about patient care access. So then the next step I did is I said, now that I understand kind of the distribution of ALS, let me understand where our clinics are in relative to our patients. So what I've done is I went to the website and I was able to then locate where all of the ALS clinics are through the state of California. And then what I did is I did a drive time analysis, which basically I said, create a polygon showing me the drive time, a 90-minute drive time with all these clinics. So the idea is that everyone in this nice green area is within a 90-minute drive time to a clinic. And so if I move down just a little bit here, let me zoom in so you can see our particular geography of Loma Linda. You can see that in Southern California, if you live in that basin, you have access to these clinics. However, as we zoom out and then we begin to turn on where our ALS patients live, we get a better picture. So again, this isn't the actual location of where patients lived. What we did is we summarized it based off of a large geography of 50,000 kilometers. And then each of these polygons summarizes the number of patients in that geography. And so from there, what I wanted to do is then understand, based off of that, where are those patients outside of that 90-minute drive time? And as you know better than anyone, Dr. Rosenfeld, this Central Valley location is really where the greatest demand for the state of California is. So then what I wanted to do is identify potential candidates to put clinics. So if we come back out just a little bit here, I went through and I brought in city candidates. Now, why did I pick cities? Well, I figured that cities are greater than, say, 60,000 in population, so basically this size of Redlands or larger, that are outside that existing 90-minute drive time would be ideal candidates, because my assumption is that those cities have the ability, probably have a hospital there, probably have the infrastructure to support a new clinic. So based off of those 9 candidates, how would we best serve all of those patients that are outside that 90-minute drive time? So to do that, we have some tools to do that. In this case, we have this network analysis capability where we're able to come in and answer the first question, which is, if we had unlimited funds out of all of these 9 cities, do we need all 9 cities to serve the number of patients outside of that existing 90-minute drive time? So the answer is no. In fact, we need 7 of the 9 cities. These would be the 7 ideal candidates shown with the yellow star of where we would want to put a clinic to serve at least 80% of our ALS patients. Okay, so you can see in this analysis up here, I put in a drive time of 90 minutes from these proposed candidates, and I said I want to serve at least 80% of those patients that are outside that existing 90-minute drive time. And from there, what we did is it goes through and allocates and figures out, based off of that criteria, the number of patients you can serve and the number of facilities you would need. And just to get a little bit more better understanding, when I run that analysis, it identifies those cities, and then if it's a candidate, it doesn't mean it's required, and then it gives you the summary of the number of patients it could see. Okay? So again, it gives you an idea of how many people would actually come to that site based off of just geography and how it distributes it equally across those 7 cities. Okay? All right, so that's the first answer. First question I want to answer is, what if we had unlimited funding, where would we put our clinics? Then the next question is, uh, we know that it's not an ideal world, so we have to figure out, if we had limited funding, let's say we can only have money to open up one clinic out of these 9 cities, where would the best bang for our buck go? And so when I ran that analysis, we can see here the town in Central California. This would be the ideal place to put a clinic to serve the greatest number of people. And so in this case, what I ended up doing was just saying only one facility, 90-minute drive time towards the facilities, and this is the town that it picked. Of course, again, we can always modify it. You can always eliminate some of these cities, or if you have additional criteria, you could add. But I just wanted to showcase what we could do with just some really basic information to help answer some of these more complex questions of, where should we put our funding in order to support the greater ALS community. So this is a really bad demo, so I apologize, but hopefully it just gives you a sense of some of the work that I'm doing, as well as if you're ever interested in knowing more about this, let me know. As you know, I'd be happy to talk more about what we're doing here. All right, thank you again, and I hope to see you on the 17th, but I will see you on October 12th at clinic. Take care.